Wow.
Hello fishing friends, this is Matthew with Hot Fishing 13. So you want to take your kid fishing? Well, that's a great idea. Every kid loves to do something outdoors, and catching a fish is really exciting. So if you haven't gone, I'm going to show you how to do it, where to go and be successful. When I was growing up, my fondest memories are going fishing with my dad, my grandfather, an uncle, a cousin, my brothers, my sister. We just always had a great time, and it's something that you can get started into without spending a fortune and have some success. So let's get started. I'm going to show you how to rig up some tackle and where to go, and then we're going to go fishing and catch some fish.
Okay, let's take a look at what fishing gear you're going to need. The first thing you're going to need is a rod and reel. Now, I recommend for a beginning child a closed face spinning reel. This is made by Zebco. It's also called a spin cast reel. There's a couple other companies that make them. I prefer Zebco's, but Shakespeare and Fluger and a few other companies as well as Abu Garcia make these. But these are by far the most popular. They're reasonably inexpensive. One of the first ones you can start off with is, say, a 202, a 404, or a Zebco 33. Generally, a Zebco 33 is going to run you between $12 and $15. A Zebco 202 or a 404 you can get them on sale for less than $10. But if you go to the store like Walmart or any big box store or something like that that's got sporting goods, you can get a combo for less than $20, and it'll already be pre-spooled with fishing line on it of the appropriate size. So this is a nice little compact reel. It's pretty cool. It's a telecast, and you can often find these as a combo as well. Look on Amazon. This is a 33 micro, so it's a little bit smaller. This is an older Zebco reel, so maybe Grandpa has a rod and reel that your child can use if you don't want to buy one right away. So this is an older Zebco. This is what they kind of look like, but it's still a great old reel. One of the things, if you use an older reel that Grandpa or Dad has tucked away in the garage, you might want to take and replace the line. I'll put a link in the description below for how to replace fishing line on a Zebco or a spin cast reel. So this is another one. This is about a 6-foot rod. It's a 2-piece rod, which is nice because it's easy to put away and store. This is another Zebco. This is more expensive. If your child really gets into fishing, you may want to consider getting them some better fishing gear. These reels right here and the combo generally run about $75. The reel itself is $60 to $70, and the rod $25 to $35. So you can spend as much as $100 just for a rod and reel that's a nicer, higher quality. But like I said, it can be worth it if your child is getting really into it and wants to have something a little bit nicer. Okay, so let's talk about hooks and other gear you're going to need. The next thing you're going to need to catch a fish with are hooks. Now there's all kinds of different hooks. I recommend just getting some basic hooks. These ones right here are called J hooks, and they come in different sizes. The smaller the number, the bigger the hook. So for example, we have here, this is probably a size 10, and this would be a size 8. And these are this size 10 or 12 or a little bit smaller. I wouldn't go smaller than a 14. Are great for catching things like crappie, bluegill, and trout. This will also catch a lot of trout. It may not, smaller fish like bluegill may shy away from a big hook like that. I also have what's called a circle hook. These hooks, sometimes you can find them at the tackle shop, sometimes you can't, but they tend not to foul up deep down in the throat of the fish because they'll slip out and catch them in the jaw. So here's a couple different varieties right here of J hooks in different sizes. These hooks right here will still catch a nice trout. They'll also catch bluegill, crappie, or other small panfish like green sunfish. Some other hooks are called jig hooks. They have a little weight on them, and that way when they're tied on, they tend to sit up like this in the water. Now jigs, you can put worms and bait on them as well, but generally guys like to use what's called a plastic or a rubber bait, and you hook that on there just so it looks like this. And these you can cast out there and drag along the bottom, or they're often really fun to fish from a dock or up here where you can just jig them off the bottom. Okay, there's other gear that as you get going, I'm going to show you how to just use hooks and a sinker and a bobber. So when you put a bobber on, you got your hook, and then often you want a sinker, and then you put your bobber above the sinker. You hook it there, and you hook it there. Now some of these bobbers are set up so that they have a weight on the bottom so that the weighted side floats down. For example, this bobber has a sinker, so you want the sinker part to be pointing towards your hook. But it's the same sort of thing. This one's made out of foam. This is a plastic one that's hollow. But they work the same way. They have a little place there to grab the line so you can adjust it so that it can be 2 feet below, a foot below, 3 feet, 4 feet below. So generally when you have a leader on there, you just want it to be a couple feet below or a foot below. Now, when you go fishing, some of the best things to fish with is real live bait, like worms, grubs, maggots, grasshoppers, things that are what fish would generally eat on. But there's also lots of artificial baits, and check your regulations because some places only allow you to fish with artificial baits, not live bait or real bait like real corn or real grasshoppers or worms and things like that. It could be, depending on the body of water, check your regulation. But Power Bait makes a whole, Berkley makes a whole line of artificial cheeses. These are called Power Bait or Gulp. And they're really great baits. They come in a little container and they come in a million different flavors. But you really only need a couple. When you're fishing like at a local pond that's stocked with fish, keep in mind that those fish have been fed. And so for example, this right here, this is a floating trout bait, and it looks like the kind of food that the fish would get. So the fish are fed this brown bait that looks like little pellets, and this imitates that. It's the same color, and it has the same sort of smell. Okay, and smell is important. This right here, this Gulp bait right here, is really great because it's white. Now, why do I want to have some white bait? Well, because it looks like bread. And people that go to ponds like to feed ducks bread, and they throw the bread out there. Sometimes the ducks get all of it, and sometimes they don't, and the trout come along or the fish come along and eat the rest of the bread, and they love it. And this looks like bread. And I have a couple bottles of it. I have this one that has natural scent, and it's really good stuff, okay? You might need a pair of forceps. You can usually buy these at tackle shops, and this helps you get the hooks out of the fish's mouth. Here's a fish stringer. You can usually pick one of these up for about $3 to $4 or $5, but it's used to put, if you're going to keep some fish to take home, you can, this fish stringer, you can take one part and attach it to a stick and poke it in the ground, and then the other part you can attach the fish, and you just go through a little part of the underneath their jaw. Don't go through their gill. Poke it through the skin under their jaw and come out their mouth. Clip it on and throw them in the water, and they'll sit there and stay alive in the water for a long time. Okay, so before we get going, let's tie up a rig. And I know this is going to be hard to see, but I'll describe it. There are some really great videos, and I'll find a good video and put it in the description below. But what we're going to do is we're going to rig up just, this one I'm going to rig up with a hook, a sinker, and a bobber, and fishing off the top. And the other one is just going to be a hook and a sinker. I won't do that one. That one I'm going to fish off the bottom. So you want to take your hook and go in through the eye of the hook. You want to get a tag in that's maybe 4 to 6 inches long there. And what you want to do to tie this is just a modified cinch knot or clinch knot. What you want to do is you want to turn the hook about 6 times and get 6 twists in the line. Okay, that's 5, 6 twists. Then you want to take the tag end and you want to put it through the little loop that you made down by the eye. So get it through that little loop there, and then this loop that you just made, you want to pull it back through there. Now some guys always use a little bit of spit, so put a little spit on there. That will help lubricate it, and then cinch that down. That's why it's called a modified cinch knot. Then you want to take and cut off the tag end, and then make sure to use your fingernail and get that knot down there good. That's all. And then you want to take a small sinker. Now I'm going to fish this one with a bobber, so I want to put the sinker about. Now the nice thing about these little sinkers is you can use a pair of pliers to open them up and then close them, and then you can reuse them. So what we want to do is, see that little opening right there, that little lever? So you open it up, and I'm going to put this one about 3 or 4 inches from my hook, and then I'm going to take my pliers and I'm going to close that good and tight. Okay, there you go. And then I think I'm going to use one of these bobbers right here. And I'm going to use a yellow one. Use that yellow one. And I'm going to put it so that it's about, I have about 1.5 feet down to my hook. So about that far. Now the part with the weight right here goes towards the hook. So you push that up and get that trapped in there. Make sure that closes just like that on there. And come up here and push on the side, open that up, and get a little spin on there, and then make sure that that closes up just like that. And then I'm ready to go. I got about 1.5 feet to my hook, a little sinker to sink it down so that floating cheese goes down there. But the next one I'm going to do, I'm going to fish from the bottom, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to put the sinker, so the sinker is about 18 inches. That way that the sinker will sink down to the bottom, and this will float up, and the fish that are cruising around the bottom will come and get it. This one will be one for when the fish are cruising around the top. All right, well, we're ready to go. Let's go. Okay, I'm over here at a little pond in Springville, and as you can see, there's a whole bunch of people already out here fishing. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There's a fish that just jumped. That means they're hitting flies. But today I'm just going to show you how to fish with power bait or cheese, floating from the bottom and floating from the top. My friend's already caught a nice brown trout, so I know that the fish are here. That's a nice one. It's about 16 inches long. But that's a native, well, not native, but a wild one. And what's normally in here is they usually put about 1,000 fish a month or more in this pond right here, and they're all from the hatchery. And so hatchery fish love bread and other things, and so I'm going to start out with my white power bait, and I got my little Zebco reel. I'm not going to make too big of a ball that I'm going to put on there, just a small one. And that's my one with the bobber. This one I got it all fixed up to fish from the bottom. So to put this bait on here, I just want to kind of get it up around the top of the hook and embed it in there. And the top of the hook has a line on there, and it helps hold it on there some too. But I want to make sure you can see part of the hook. Anyhow, let me show you on the camera how this bait floats. So see, it floats right up there. When the line goes out there, it'll keep it suspended in there. It doesn't need to go out very far. There's about 30 feet. And I'll make sure my drag is loose enough. There we go. And I'll put this in here. And then we'll just watch it to wiggle. Now I'll tell you another tip. A lot of people don't realize this, but fish have an affinity or a natural instinct to eat round things. Because when they are babies and they hatch, already?
Yeah.
All right. Look at that. I got one already.
Oh, so do I.
Nice, Larry. Okay, I'm going to cast in this. It's not there. This is on my Omega 33, and we're going to catch this one. So that wasn't even I wasn't even there for 2 minutes. Look at that. There he is. Tighten my drag up a little bit. Larry's got a beautiful rainbow. It looks like it's got spawning colors, Larry. Wow, it's so pretty. That one's really dark. Wow. Is that another brown or a rainbow?
That's a rainbow, but it's kind of it's a rainbow, but
Boy, it's sure pretty. And look how dark it is. This one's kind of green and that one's kind of brown. All right, well, folks, that's how you do it. That's how you teach your kids and go fishing. Now, I want to keep a couple fish. In this pond, I can keep 2. You take and just poke a little hole right there in the skin through their bottom lip. Like that. And he'll be fine just right there. Hook this into the ground like that. And he'll be fine. He'll stay alive right there and just swim. And stay nice and fresh. I just found this neat little lure, though, sitting in the grass. Always finding lures. Okay, I saw it bite. Let's see if it's on. So what you want to do is you want to reel it in a little bit until you can feel it tugging. I don't know if it's there or not. There it is. There it is. So I reeled it in slowly until I could feel it tugging and give it a sharp little jerk to set the hook. But I'm going to let that one go. That one's not very big. Look, I got my bait back too. Well, we're going to reel this in. Every once in a while you have to check your bait to see if it's still on there or if it's got moss hanging on it. Clean it off. The fish don't like moss. And this one looks fine. I'm going to cast it back out there. It has had no action though, which is kind of odd. We're going to check this one, see how it's doing. It got robbed, which is why it hasn't had any bites. And we're going to put some more white bread bait on it. The white power bait. It looks like bread. And we're going to put that on there. Now remember, what we want to do is we want to kind of hide the hook, but not so much that it won't. So we want to just do it like that, make a ball, and get it out there. Okay, let's see. We got a fish on. Let's see. You saw it bite. Let's see if it's still there. Oh, there it is. We got it. I'm gonna let this one go. He's kind of small, but all right. So I got my forceps, and let's see if I'm gonna have to do a little bit of surgery to get this one out. I might have to. Let's see. It's down there, down by his gills. There, we got it. Without any hurting him. I think I'll let him go so I can fish a little bit more. You only keep 2 fish in this pond, right?
yeah.
There he goes.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah. Come on, fish. Got him, Larry.
Well, there we go. Perfect for the video.
Yeah.
Let's see what you got.
So look at the size of that fish.
Yeah, this one's a minnow
It's pretty big, and look at the size of my fish that I caught.
on a littler bait.
Wow.
So getting some of these hooks out with a forceps, you get onto the hook and you push it in and then you take it out. So that was perfect. There he goes. Get him out there. There he goes. He's gonna be fine now. He needs to grow about 4 more inches. Let's catch a bigger fish. I like to eat fish, and so if I can catch 2 trout and see it's just hanging out there, staying alive, and if I can catch another nice one, I'll have a nice dinner for myself. Well, that was a lot of fun. I hope you learned something about the simple fishing on a pond like this with just a sinker and a hook and some power bait, or a bobber and some power bait along with a little sinker to get it down there. But it was very effective. I caught 4 fish in a pretty short period of time, and I saw other people around me catching a lot more fish as well. So it's a great time to get your kid out, get some simple gear, a nice little combo rod with a Zebco reel, just a little bit of tackle, some power bait, and you can have a lot of fun. Thanks for coming along with me out fishing, and hope you have a good time next time you go. Bye.